Disclaimer: this story contains mature themes intended for adult viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. The bedroom was quiet except for the soft rustle of fabric in my hands. I was folding clothes, moving slowly, almost absent-mindedly, when I felt his presence before I even heard him. My husband had a way of filling the space around me without a word, the warmth of his body like a shadow wrapping me up. I didn't turn, I didn't need to. I could feel his eyes tracing every inch of me, lingering with that teasing patience that always made my heart race. His footsteps were soft, deliberate. Then I felt him behind me, close enough that his breath brushed the back of my neck. My fingers froze on the nightie I was folding, my chest rising a little sharper, like my body already knew what was coming. He didn't speak, but his hands slid gently along my waist, claiming me in that wordless way only he knew. My skin prickled with anticipation, every nerve awake. I laughed under my breath, a nervous, excited sound, and asked him what he thought he was doing. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he leaned down, his lips hovering just above my shoulder, not kissing, just letting me feel the heat of him. That silence, charged and dangerous, was somehow louder than any words. When his fingers brushed the edge of my nightie, tugging it just slightly, my whole body reacted. I turned my head, meeting his gaze, and his eyes told me everything I needed to know. They were hungry, tender, daring me to resist when we both knew I wouldn't. My hands trembled against the fabric, folding forgotten, my heart pounding so hard I thought he might hear it. The room seemed smaller, the air heavier, our breaths tangled. He pressed closer, his chest against my back, and I felt the world tilt in that moment, my body caught between the safety of routine and the wildness of his touch. My lips parted to say something, anything, but he stole the chance away with the boldness of his next move. And just like that, everything we thought would be a quiet night turned into something far more reckless. The story begins here. His arms tightened around me, pulling me fully against him, and for a moment I forgot about the clothes scattered across the bed. My nightie slipped a little lower under his touch, the fabric brushing softly against my skin as if conspiring with him. I tilted my head back just enough to catch his whisper, low and husky, asking if I'd been waiting for him all along. My lips curved into a smile, though I didn't answer. I let the silence tease him, because sometimes that drove him more than words ever could. He chuckled, his breath warm against my ear, and said he could always tell when I was pretending not to. His hand grazed my hip, slow and deliberate, testing how far I would let him go while my own fingers gripped the sheet in front of me like it was the only thing keeping me grounded. My heartbeat betrayed me, faster than I wanted it to be, and he knew it. He always knew. "Careful," I whispered, trying to sound firm, though it came out softer than I intended. "You're distracting me." "Good," he murmured back, his lips brushing the curve of my neck, "that's the point." His words lingered, sinking deeper than I wanted to admit, and the playful fire between us burned hotter. But beneath the heat, something else stirred, something neither of us had dared to speak about yet. I felt it in the way his touch lingered just a moment too long, as if he was afraid of losing me. I saw it in the way his eyes flickered when I turned to face him, daring, questioning, yet carrying a shadow he wouldn't name. "What aren't you telling me?" I asked, my voice low, not breaking the closeness but adding a different kind of weight to the moment. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he leaned his forehead against mine, closing the space between our breaths, his fingers still tangled at my waist. The silence stretched, filled with the rhythm of our breathing and the tension of words unsaid. Finally, he smiled faintly, masking whatever secret he carried, and kissed my cheek softly as if to disarm me. "Later," he said. "Right now, I just want you." It was enough to melt my guard, yet it left me restless, caught between the tenderness of his touch and the mystery behind his eyes. Whatever he was holding back, I knew it would come crashing into us soon. But not yet, not while his lips were this close, not while desire had stolen the night. And that's where the fire truly begins. His lips brushed mine with a hunger that felt both tender and urgent, yet even in the closeness, I couldn't shake the shadow in his eyes. The way he touched me, fierce, almost desperate, wasn't just about desire. It was about something heavier, something unsaid. I let him guide me back toward the floor, his body pressing mine down gently, my nightie slipping further away as his hand traced along my thigh. Heat rose between us, but so did the ache of a question I couldn't swallow anymore. "You're holding back," I whispered, breathless, staring up at him. "Why?" For a heartbeat, he froze. His gaze softened, then hardened, as if fighting himself. He lowered his head, kissing me deeply, trying to drown the question in the fire of his mouth. But I felt it, the hesitation, the weight of what he wasn't saying. I broke away, searching his face. "Is there someone else?" The words came out sharp, fragile, trembling. He pulled back, eyes narrowing, his hands still on my waist but no longer moving. "Don't," he said, his voice rough. "Don't go there." But my chest tightened, because his silence had already gone there for me. The way he lingered around his phone lately, the nights he came home with excuses, the sudden bursts of passion that felt less like love and more like distraction, it all stitched together into a truth I wasn't sure I wanted. "Then tell me what it is," I pressed, my tone half a plea, half a challenge. His jaw clenched, and for the first time, I saw the flicker of something dangerous in his eyes. Not anger at me, anger at himself, maybe. Or maybe at the truth he was holding. He leaned down again, whispering against my ear, "What if it's not about someone else, but about something I want?" The way he said it sent a shiver through me, equal parts thrill and fear. His hand tightened around mine, as though anchoring me for what might come next. "Something I've thought about," he continued, his breath hot against my skin. "Something I'm afraid to tell you because I don't know if you'll still look at me the same." My body ached with his nearness, but my mind spun with the unknown. Was it jealousy? A secret betrayal? Or a desire I wasn't prepared for? The suspense between us was thicker than the passion itself, pulling me deeper into a storm I wasn't sure I could escape. And still, when his lips found mine again, I let him silence me, because the answer felt both terrifying and irresistible. His mouth pressed harder against mine, the kiss deepening until my breath came in short, uneven gasps. Every inch of his body was on me now, his weight pinning me to the floor, his hands sliding beneath the thin fabric of my nightie as if nothing else in the world mattered but touching me everywhere at once. My fingers curled into his hair, pulling him closer, desperate and trembling, because whatever secret he was holding back only seemed to fuel the fire between us. His lips trailed from my mouth to my throat, slow and burning, leaving me arching into him. "You feel it too, don't you?" he murmured against my skin, his voice ragged. I wanted to ask what he meant, what exactly I was supposed to feel beyond the heat that consumed us both, but the way his hand traced lower, teasing, left my words tangled in my throat. "You're scaring me," I whispered, even as I pulled him tighter against me. He paused, hovering above me, his chest rising and falling fast. "Not fear," he said softly, brushing his thumb across my lips. "Excitement. The risk. The thought of, what if we're not as alone as you think?" A rush of panic and thrill surged through me at once. My eyes darted to the door, half expecting someone to walk in, though I knew the house was empty. Still, the way he said it, the daring glint in his eyes, made my heart pound harder than his touch alone ever could. "You wouldn't," I breathed. "Wouldn't what?" he teased, leaning in so close his lips nearly brushed mine again. "Push us further? Tell you the things I've been craving? Show you the part of me I've been afraid to let out?" My body trembled, caught between wanting to stop him and wanting to beg for more. His words dripped with something darker than playful desire, they carried the weight of revelation, of a hunger I wasn't sure I was ready to face. He kissed me again, this time rougher, his hand sliding possessively around my thigh, pulling me against him until every barrier felt like it was dissolving. And then, just as the moment threatened to break all control, he pulled back, breathless, eyes burning into mine. "I need to tell you," he said, voice low and urgent. "But once I do, nothing between us will ever be the same." The room fell into silence, our bodies still locked together, our hearts racing in unison, right on the edge of the truth that could shatter everything. His words hung in the air like smoke, thick and impossible to ignore. My chest rose and fell beneath him, every breath a battle between fear and desire. He hadn't moved away. If anything, he held me tighter, his forehead pressed against mine, his breath uneven. I could feel his heart hammering as wildly as my own, and the intimacy of it only pulled me deeper into the fire. "Then tell me," I whispered, my voice breaking. "Whatever it is, just tell me." Instead of answering, his lips captured mine again, rougher this time, almost desperate. His hands slid along my side, tugging the fabric of my nightie until it pooled dangerously low, his fingertips grazing bare skin that had my whole body trembling. I gasped against his mouth, torn between pushing him back and pulling him closer. His whispers came between kisses, jagged and urgent. "I've thought about it for months," he admitted, his words hot against my lips. "Things I want with you, things I don't know if you'll forgive me for wanting." His confession should have scared me, but the honesty in his voice only drew me closer. "Show me," I breathed, not sure where my courage came from. That was all he needed. His mouth trailed down my neck, his hands sliding possessively across my hip, pulling me flush against him. The air grew heavy, charged, every touch deeper, every breath shorter. My fingers clawed at his back, feeling the tension wound inside him, a storm barely contained. And just when I thought nothing could pull me further into him, a sharp sound shattered the room, the faint creak of the hallway floorboards. My whole body froze. He lifted his head, eyes locked with mine, his expression fierce and unreadable. "Did you hear that?" I whispered, my voice trembling. His lips curved into the faintest smirk, though his eyes betrayed the same pulse of panic I felt. "Maybe we're not alone," he murmured, his voice dark, daring, as if the idea of being caught only drove him wilder. My pulse spiked, fear and thrill colliding inside me. "Who?" I asked, but my words were swallowed as his mouth claimed mine again, harder, hungrier, his body pressing me deeper into the floor. He kissed me like a man possessed, as though he didn't care if someone was standing on the other side of that door. The sound came again, clearer this time. A shadow flickered under the doorframe, unmistakable. My breath caught in my throat, panic tightening every muscle, yet he didn't stop. His hands roamed with more urgency, his whispers turning into promises I could barely comprehend. "Trust me," he growled softly against my ear. "Whatever happens after this, it's ours." My eyes darted to the door, fear clawing at my chest, but my body betrayed me, clinging to him as though nothing else mattered. Suspense and passion tangled so tightly, I couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. And then, just as the heat between us threatened to consume everything, the doorknob turned. The door handle rattled, and in that suspended breath of terror, my heart nearly stopped. I shoved at his chest, but he only pressed harder, his mouth fierce against mine, as if daring the world to break in. My body burned beneath his touch, fear and desire colliding so violently that I couldn't separate them anymore. Then, silence. The handle stilled. The shadow slipped away. Whoever it was, they were gone. My gasp broke into a shaky laugh, my chest heaving against his. I couldn't finish, because his lips silenced me again, softer now but filled with something deeper than just lust. A kind of desperation, like he'd been holding it in for too long. His hands roamed over me with unrestrained need, pulling me closer, grounding me in him, in us. "Nothing can take this from me," he murmured against my skin, every word a vow. "Not secrets. Not fear. Not anyone." The floodgates opened between us. I gave in completely, wrapping myself around him, every barrier stripped away until all that remained was raw emotion and reckless passion. His kisses trailed lower, his hands mapping every curve like he was memorizing me, like I was his only salvation. The heat swelled, building and building, until it was unbearable not to break. I let out a cry that was half laughter, half surrender, and in that instant, every suspicion, every unspoken question melted into pure, consuming release. But just as the tension shattered into fulfillment, he stilled above me, his breathing ragged, his eyes locked with mine. Something flickered there, something that didn't belong in the aftermath of passion. His lips trembled before he whispered it. It wasn't just a shadow. My body froze beneath him. What do you mean? He swallowed hard, his hands still gripping mine. I told someone. About us. About what I want. They're here. The word struck like lightning, electrifying the air with a whole new kind of danger. My pulse roared in my ears, the warmth of our passion still clinging to my skin, now laced with a sharp edge of betrayal. I searched his face, breathless, torn between anger and the afterglow that still pulsed through me. And in that storm, with my body still trembling from everything we'd shared, the terrifying truth settled over me. This night wasn't ending. It was only just beginning. His confession left me stunned, my body still trembling from the storm we had just lived through. The weight of his words pressed against me heavier than his touch ever could, yet when I looked into his eyes, I didn't see betrayal, I saw fear. Not fear of losing control, but fear of losing me. I reached up, brushing my fingertips across his cheek, feeling the dampness of sweat, the rawness of the moment. Why? I asked softly, not accusing, not angry, just needing to understand. Because, he whispered, pressing his forehead to mine, I wanted to know if what I feel for you is real enough to survive being seen. I was scared you'd leave if I told you everything. Scared I'd ruin us by hiding. My chest tightened, not with suspicion, but with a deep ache of love. All the jealousy, all the unspoken shadows between us suddenly felt small compared to the truth in his voice. He wasn't pushing me away, he was pulling me closer than ever, even if clumsily, even if recklessly. I kissed him gently, softer than before, the kind of kiss that doesn't demand but reassures. You don't need anyone else to see us, I whispered against his lips. We're enough. You and me, we're more than enough. Relief poured through him, his body sinking into mine as though the fight he had carried inside finally loosened its grip. His hands slid along my side, not with the urgency from before, but with tenderness, reverence, as though rediscovering me in the quiet after the storm. We lay there tangled, our breathing slowing, the golden light of the room wrapping us in warmth. I felt his heartbeat even out against my chest, steady and strong, a rhythm that reminded me why we had survived every argument, every doubt, every secret. I almost lost you tonight, he said quietly. I shook my head, pulling him closer. No. You reminded me why I'll never leave. He smiled then, soft, unguarded, the kind of smile that melts everything else away. And as his lips found mine once more, this time unburdened by fear or secrecy, I knew the truth. Passion may have brought us to the edge, but love was what kept us from falling. We didn't need shadows at the door or confessions in whispers. All we needed was the fire between us, and the promise that it would never burn out.